Hello and welcome to our trip report for our 2024 mini cruise on board the cruise ship Virtuosa, owned and operated by MSC Cruises. In May, we took both our first ever cruise with the MSC Cruise Line and our first ever mini cruise on board the cruise ship. We had enjoyed several mini cruises on cruise ferries, including from Hull to Zeebrugge, which was the first port of call that we would visit on this journey. We would normally go to Bruges from there, but this time we simply jumped on the tram and went to Blankenberge. Our second port was Cherbourg in France, which is somewhere we had never visited, but due to its links to the Titanic, it was somewhere I'd always had an interest in visiting. So just how did our experience on board MSC go, and what did we make of our mini cruise? That's what we take a look at in this video. As ever, don't forget to like and subscribe, and why not let us know what you think about any of the ports or of the ship. My name is Darren, and this is our trip report for our mini cruise on board the MSC Virtuosa. We would set sail from the port of Southampton, and from the Horizon Terminal to be more precise, which is a port and a terminal we've used before. As had been the case on our other cruises leaving from the same port to the same terminal, the check-in process was straightforward, and from parking up at the car park to going through security and checking in, it only took about 10 minutes. After a short wait, we will board the ship nice and early and have plenty of time to walk around, explore and get to know the ship. One thing we always appreciate, and can never understand lines who don't allow it, is when you can head straight to your room and drop off your carry-on luggage. Thankfully, MSC is a line that allows that, so our first stop was to our cabin. As a mini cruise, we would only have 2 ports of call on this itinerary, with one being in Belgium and one being in France. Our first day was spent exploring the seaside resort of Blankenberge, from the port of Zeebrugge. Although the port is promoted as either Bruges or Brussels by the lines, and it was to those destinations that most would head. For those who haven't been to Zeebrugge, you must get a shuttle bus to the main terminal building at the port entrance, but from there it is just a short walk to the famous coastal tram that runs from the French border to the Dutch border along the whole of the Belgian coastline. Along the route you can visit places such as Nocky, Ostend, Dieppe and Blankenberge, and it was to the seaside resort just to the west of Zeebrugge that we would visit. We chose to head down the coast rather than to the nearby Bruges, as we had been there a few times, but if you have never visited Bruges, we would highly recommend it. Blankenberge itself is a nice enough place to simply stroll around, but in truth there's not too much there, and that is also the same for Zeebrugge, which is solely a port town, and anyone visiting there will likely need to book an excursion or use public transport to head elsewhere. Our second port of call was the historic port city of Cherbourg, on the Normandy coast of France. The city is known for its important role in getting people, supplies and vehicles to France in the days after the Normandy landings. It also has a long maritime past, which includes being one of the stops on Titanic's maiden and last voyage. That history can be experienced as soon as you step off your ship, as you exit through an historic baggage hall, which was used by passengers getting on and off the Titanic, before walking out through the La Cite de la Mer, a naval museum with an interest in underwater vessels, and where you can see the historic Redoutable, a French ballistic missile submarine. We would walk around the free section of the museum after exploring the city, which is pleasant to walk around. It has a nice square with plenty of cafes and a small but beautiful garden. Due to the nature of our trip, which was full of hen stag do's and big groups celebrating birthdays, the ship itself almost acted as a port, with many taking advantage of the great weather to simply relax around the pool instead of heading ashore. After 3 nights of bobbing around the channel, we would end our adventure where it all started, at the Horizon Terminal in Southampton. We have already done a full review of the MSC Virtuosa, so we'll just give our quick thought on it. We had heard some good things and some bad things about MSC, so we were wary of booking a full cruise with them, especially when we had other lines that we knew we would enjoy. We were sent an incredible offer to get a sail-away rate of just £176 for a mini cruise, and that would fall in line with our wedding anniversary, so it seemed a great opportunity to not just only try the MSC line, but to also try one of the biggest and newest cruise ships to sail out of the UK. It was a decision that we were glad to have made, as we enjoyed our time on the ship. While she certainly has some quirks, and we would have to sail on her for a regular cruise to get a full picture of what it was like to take a cruise holiday on her, the fact that we would be perfectly happy to do so should give you an insight into our views on her. There's plenty to like about the ship, including the promenade deck, and lots to hate, including a lack of seating areas, but on the whole it was a pleasurable experience. Our overall thoughts on the trip are incredibly positive. We enjoyed the ship, enjoyed the destinations we visited, and even got to see some family members on the south coast that we hadn't seen for some time. A mini cruise is all about recharging your batteries and getting an insight into a ship, and that is exactly what we did achieve. With little to no downsides, it is something that we would certainly consider doing again if the chance to experience a new ship, line, or destinations came up again. So all that remains to be said is thank you so much for watching. This was our trip report for our mini cruise on board the MSC Virtuosa, and see you next time.